Well, if you've been paying much attention to the news the last few years, you know that if Democrats take the Senate and White House, their threats of packing the Supreme Court, eliminating the Electoral College, granting statehood to Puerto Rico and D.C., and making other seismic changes are going to be carried out whether or not President Trump fills the vacant Supreme Court seat before the election. They've been threatening as much for a long time, so President Trump may as well just do it. It seems the Senate has the vote, so that part of the discussion is over, or at least it should be. If a Democrat president were in the same position as President Trump, with a Democrat Senate to confirm his choice, he'd have his new activist justice sworn in faster than you can say Christine Blasey Ford. The full court would be able to start hearing cases in October, hardly missing a beat. But the double standard applies once again. The media are completely off their meds. The meltdown on CNN and MSNBC was so predictable that there's no point in even getting into it. Mostly, they're wrongly equating one situation, the Merrick Garland nomination under President Obama, in which the President and Senate were of different parties, with another situation in which the President and Senate are of the same party. But these scenarios are very different, and the anger we see is coming from their blind partisanship as well as their willful ignorance. Now, I'm going to do what I hope you do, ignore it, except for one dangerous part of it. They're encouraging the Democrats to go ahead and burn it all down. As soon as they gain power, pack the court to suit the president, destroying checks and balances. Then add states to gain senators who vote their way. Get rid of the filibuster completely. Blow up the Electoral College and choose the president by straight popular vote, because why shouldn't California and a handful of big cities pick the president? Just do whatever it takes to hold on to power. The media apparently learned in journalism school that they're supposed to be the cheering section for all of this. However, this episode has taken one surprising turn. Under the heading of "Even a broken clock is right twice a day," I got to give credit to Utah Senator Mitt Romney for putting history and precedent over politics and personal grievance. The LA Times wrote that Mitt made the wrong call. That means he made the right call. They also left out, I'm sure deliberately, the first part of what he said about the fairness of following the law. So let me put that back in for them. Here was his quote. "My decision regarding a Supreme Court nomination is not the result of a subjective test of fairness. It's based on the immutable fairness of following the law, which in this case is the Constitution and precedent. The historical precedent of election year nominations is that the Senate generally does not confirm an opposing party's nominee, but does confirm one of its own." End quote. Mitt Romney went on to say that he would follow the Constitution and vote based on the nominee's qualifications. Didn't think I'd be saying this after the impeachment vote, but good job, Mitt. Well, Joe Biden refused to tell a reporter whether or not he would pack the Supreme Court if he won. He kind of weaseled out, saying, "It's a legitimate question, but let me tell you why I'm not going to answer that question, because it'll shift all the focus." That's what he wants, he meaning Donald Trump. Shift all the focus? The idea of court packing is a big deal. Shouldn't we focus on it right now? Now, if Biden won't renounce court packing, that tells us that his party intends to do just that if they get half a chance. Biden won't even divulge his own short list of Supreme Court nominees. Maybe he doesn't know them or remember their names, but he knows who's in charge of his party, and he has said he'll have the most progressive administration in history. If you want to see progressive, all you got to do is look at the extremists running New York City, Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco. Leftists have way too much power as it is. We'd be crazy to give them more. On the bright side, Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski, one of the Republicans who was originally said to be opposed to confirming a Trump nominee before the election, now says she won't rule that out if the Judiciary Committee passes one. Also, it depends on who it is. Considering those two conditions would apply to any Supreme Court nominee, this shouldn't even be news. But the big news here is that Murkowski and Mitt Romney, both rejecting the Democrats' threats and demands to refuse to do their jobs, at least one side of the Senate is still functioning according to the Constitution, not politics. The equally good news is that threats, ultimatums, name-calling, and temper tantrums may have finally ceased to be effective tools of political persuasion. To that I'd say it's about time. Well, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. Please leave a like and a comment. And why don't you share this video if you really enjoyed it? And by the way, if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. Absolutely free. And be sure to order my new book about how 3 foundational elements made America the incredible country it is today. The book is called The 3 C's That Made America Great: Christianity, Capitalism, and the Constitution. It's available wherever books are sold or at HuckabeeBooks.com. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.